Molly Pitcher and Betsy Ross are common patriotic lore. However, it can be difficult to find the truth in their fables. They are commonly known or revered, whereas women such as Deborah Sampson, mostly known as Robert Shirtleaf, the soldier, and Mercy Otis Warren, the historian, are rarely mentioned. So why is it that Molly Pitcher became a larger-than-life figure? Mary Ludick Hayes, a young German descendant and wife of John Hayes, entered the war record on June 28, 1778. Mary was 22 and pregnant at the time. Soldiers described her as an illiterate woman who smoked and chewed tobacco and swore worse than the men did. Mary earned her nickname as Molly Pitcher during the Battle of Monmouth. She worked hard to administer water to battle-fatigued men during combat. But when her husband collapsed during the war, she took his place at the cannon. Joseph Plum Martin documented her valor in the battle in a most comical way. Martin states, a woman whose husband belonged to the artillery and who was then attached to a piece in the engagement attended with her husband at the piece for the whole time. While in the act of reaching a cartridge and having one of her feet as far before the other as she could step, a cannon shot from the enemy passed directly between her legs without doing any other damage than carrying away all the lower part of her petticoat. Looking at it with apparent unconcern, she observed that it was lucky it had not passed a little higher, for in that case it would have carried away something else, and continued with her occupation. Mary Ludick Hayes is most credited with being Molly Pitcher. One reason being Martin's account, and because she was awarded an annual pension of $40 for her heroism at Monmouth. In 1876, her grave was marked as an honored soldier. However, she is not the only woman characterized as Molly Pitcher or as a Molly character. Margaret Corbin served in the same artillery unit as Mary. She was the first woman pensioned by the Continental Congress and is the only soldier from the Revolution to be buried at West Point. Margaret is characterized by Linda Grant DePauw as a soldier who wore a uniform but gave no effort in concealing her sex. She was also referred to as Captain Molly. When Margaret's husband, John Corbin, was killed at the Battle of Fort Washington, Margaret took his place on the firing line, but was wounded and captured by the British. Deborah Sampson, like Corbin, received a federal pension. Sampson disguised herself as a man and fought with the 4th Massachusetts Regiment. Her fellow soldiers, thinking she was a man, nicknamed her Molly for her high-pitched voice and her clear skin. Her story is backed by Colonel Henry Jackson, who testified that she fought in the war. Sampson was considered a female deviant at the time. She apologized for her actions and for not following the conventional path of femininity. She also needed Paul Revere to stand up for her in Congress in order to earn a pension. Sampson did earn a pension for the remainder of her life and a disability pension. Molly Pitcher is simply a legendary personality constructed from the tales of bravery and the doings of different revolutionary women. The name Molly Pitcher can be considered a generic term given to countless of nameless women who were anonymously honored for their actions and heroic services. Hundreds of women during the Revolutionary War served as ammunition wives, but they also served in the militia, like Sampson. Looking at the Mollys of the Revolution, we can get a better understanding of the multifaceted roles that women played during the Revolution. While some women became legendary, such as Betsy Ross and Molly Pitcher, there may have been many more Mollys in the war. Other women's efforts during the war included nurses, ammunition carriers, and water carriers, and many women followed their husbands to the camps and helped with food and sewing and other needs. Not all of these women's efforts were appreciated by General Washington or other soldiers in the army. However, it did become appreciated and acknowledged.